Ever feel like you're drowning in to-dos?
Yeah.
Like every afternoon's a mad dash to cram in a whole week of life.
Yeah, I think that's the modern human experience in a nutshell, right? So many possibilities swirling around, but always that same wall of limited time.
That's it, exactly. And that's precisely what we're diving into today. How do we manage time when we're just, well, mortal? We've been digging into Oliver Burkeman's 4,000 Weeks, and it's really not your typical productivity how-to, more like how to rethink time itself.
And that title right there, 4,000 weeks, that's about the average lifespan when you do the math. Might sound like a lot at first.
Until it sinks in.
Yeah.
And this isn't new. Even Seneca, centuries back, was lamenting how life slips by just when you figure it out. He was onto something, wasn't he? It's like, this isn't just a modern thing, it's a human thing, this finite time problem.
Absolutely. And to get the scale of it, those 4,000 weeks, they're nothing compared to the whole of history, right? The Sumerians, one of the first civilizations, well, they were around 310,000 weeks ago, makes our little 4,000 seem pretty fleeting. Like, blink and you miss it in the grand scheme of things.
Makes you rethink that endless scrolling, doesn't it? And it's wild how so many of our struggles, like those daily distractions, that inability to just focus, it all comes back to this one thing. This time we have, this attention we have. Can't make more of it either. It's like all these attention problems we have, they come from knowing our time's running out deep down.
And the crazy part is how it spills into everything else, even politics, right? The way we're all so divided, social media making it worse. It's almost like it's all part of the same fight for our attention. These platforms need our time to make money, so they push stuff that gets us riled up. Makes you think, doesn't it? Like even society's problems are tied to this attention thing.
Our moments are like gold dust now, in a way. And then there's this whole productivity craze. Get more done, optimize, hustle. But honestly, the harder you try, the more swamped you get. It makes no sense. Like, isn't more productivity supposed to give us more time?
It should, shouldn't it? But the anthropologist Edward T. Hall had this great analogy about the conveyor belt of tasks. You finish one thing, another pops up right away. And trying to be productive just makes the belt go faster. Eventually, it burns you out. And we're seeing that now, more than ever. Especially younger people. They just can't keep up. Like the whole system is backfiring.
Trying to be human robots, almost. And wasn't it supposed to be different? John Maynard Keynes, wasn't he predicting 15-hour work weeks by now? Where'd all the leisure time go?
Well, there's the catch. Keynes was writing back in 1930. He didn't factor in our ever-growing wants. Once you've got the basics covered, we just come up with new needs.
Right.
Always chasing the next thing. And enough keeps moving further away. It's like even busyness itself has become a badge of honor. No wonder we never feel like we have enough time. The goalposts keep shifting. It's completely upside down. I mean, historically, being rich meant you didn't have to work all the time. And now it's this status symbol, this busyness, and it trickles down, doesn't it? Like we all feel it.
Which leads to this feeling, deep down, that something's off. Life wasn't meant to be this constant race against the clock, this dread of Mondays just waiting for the weekend. It's like a disconnect, right?
Nah.
We all want meaning, but it's hard to find when you're always running.
That wrongness feeling is powerful. And the scary part is how productivity actually makes it worse. Like, we try to get more done, but the things that matter most keep getting pushed aside. It's so easy to get lost in just checking off boxes instead of living.
Which brings us to the main point, traditional time management. It's failed, in a way. We feel lost, overwhelmed. But that's an opportunity to rethink how we relate to time. Learn from thinkers who faced the same problem centuries ago.
So the takeaway is, this productivity thing, it can be a trap. More efficiency just makes us more frantic. And work-life balance. Sounds nice, but maybe it's a fantasy. This dream of everything under control, not going to happen, right? It's never going to happen. So instead of that, let's go back in time a bit. Before all these schedules, all these productivity gurus, how did people experience time back then?
Okay, time travel. I'm in.
Imagine, say, a medieval peasant. Life was hard. Disease, backbreaking labor. But here's the thing. They probably didn't feel this too much to do thing we do. Didn't feel hurried all the time. Or guilty about wasting time. Boredom, in our sense, wasn't really a thing. Hard to picture, isn't it?
That's like a whole other world.
Yeah.
So not just slower, but a completely different experience of time. Not this thing be managed and controlled, but something else.
Right. Historians talk about task orientation. Life revolved around what needed doing, not some abstract schedule. Efficiency wouldn't even have made sense without clocks and all that. Like, time was experienced through what you were doing, not as this separate, stressful thing.
So how did they measure time at all? Without clocks, I mean.
They used real-world things like A task might take a miser while. That's the time it took to recite Psalm 50. Or a pissing while. Well, you get the idea. It was all about tangible actions, not abstract units.
It's hard to imagine time not ticking away in the back of your mind constantly. What shifted that?
Lots of things. But a big one was the shift towards secular modernity, the idea of progress. Eternity became less important. Instead, we got what Lewis Mumford called the dictatorship of the clock. This pressure to achieve, always more, that joyless urgency that Marilyn Robinson talks about. It's all part of it. And the irony is, the more we try to master time, the more it masters us.
A never-ending battle. So why are we so obsessed with control in the first place? With time, I mean.
It often comes down to this. We don't want to face our limits. We're finite beings. We can't do everything, be everything. But that's hard to swallow. So we try to control time instead, right? It's almost a way to avoid that uncomfortable truth about our limits.
So instead of facing that, we come up with ways to sidestep it, like strategies to avoid the issue.
Exactly. We chase this perfect work-life balance that always seems just out of reach. Strict time management systems that promise to fit it all in so we don't have to make tough choices. Even procrastination, believe it or not, can be about control. Never start, can't fail, right? It's all about avoiding the fact that we have limits, that we have to make choices.
And then busyness, distraction. They become ways to just shut those feelings out, don't they? Like Nietzsche talked about how we work hard to avoid having free time to actually think. It's a little close to home.
It does. And then there's planning, that obsession. If we just plan it all out perfectly, then we can control the future, which is impossible, of course. And then there's this cultural thing, too. Individual time sovereignty. Like, we should all be in charge of our own schedules, completely independent. But that makes it hard to rely on others, doesn't it? And most things that are truly worthwhile, they need other people. We isolate ourselves, trying to control our own little kingdoms of time.
Like islands, all on our own. But this control thing, isn't it backfiring on us?
Big time. It's the paradox of limitation. The more we try to manage time for total freedom, the more we stress out, feel empty. It's a cycle. Rushing makes us impatient with things that take time. Planning makes us worry about things we can't control. And that solo control, it makes us lonely. It's like the harder we try to escape limits, the more trapped we become.
So we need to embrace them. Our
Yeah.
limits, I mean.
That's the idea. Confront them head on. Work with them, not against them. Then life gets more productive, more meaningful, even more joyful. It's not about erasing anxiety, but facing reality. Sometimes real freedom is about letting go of that control, joining in things where we're not the boss, accepting the rhythms of community. It sounds backwards, but embracing limits can actually make life richer.
Like surrendering to how things naturally unfold, the Eigensight.
Right.
Not forcing everything to fit our schedule.
Right, and maybe even rethink this whole using time idea. Like, it's some resource to be exploited. What if time used us? What if we responded to the moment instead of always planning for the future? Maybe that would be less stressful.
That's a wild thought. But intriguing. Now let's talk to-do lists. That never-ending monster. There's always too much to do, isn't there?
And logically, it's impossible to do it all. It just can't be the case that you must do more than you can do. It's a contradiction. So when we get overwhelmed by to-dos, it's often because we believe we should do everything, which is irrational.
But we still feel that pressure, right? That voice saying, get it all done. If it's impossible, why do we feel like that?
Because admitting it's impossible means facing those limits again. It means making choices, letting something slide, disappointing people, maybe abandoning dreams. It's uncomfortable. So instead, we try to do even more, which just makes us busier. It's like running faster on a treadmill that's speeding up. Makes no sense.
A hamster wheel of doom. But this cram everything in, it's not new, is it? Didn't Arnold Bennett write about that way back in 1908?
He did. His book, How to Live on 24 Hours a Day, shows this anxiety was brewing even back then. Commuting to offices, time feeling scarce, sound familiar. He saw people wasting hours, especially evenings, telling themselves they were tired when they could be doing things they enjoyed. It's like this time scarcity thing, it's not just a modern problem. It's been building for a while.
So they felt it too. And since then, haven't things gotten worse? I mean, with secularism, the idea of progress, doesn't they make this life is short feeling even stronger?
Absolutely. If there's no afterlife, this is all we get. And if the future's always getting better, well, missing out on it feels even worse. So we try to pack in as much as we can, every experience possible. It's like we're speed running life almost.
Trying to consume it all as fast as possible. Which brings us to this interesting point, convenience. We love it, right? But isn't there a downside, like a cost to all this ease?
There can be. Convenience can make life less meaningful in a way. Think about it. Brewing coffee manually versus a pod machine, walking to the store versus ordering online. Those inefficient things, they force us to slow down, to be more present. We connect with our senses, with our surroundings. Convenience saves time, but it can also make things less rich, less meaningful.
And there's Sylvia Kiesmont's story. Her choice to live that inefficient life on a farm. That's a pretty radical example, isn't it?
It is. She left a high-powered university job to live on a farm. She realized efficiency was actually draining her life of meaning. Now her mornings are about lighting fires, tending animals. It takes an hour just to make tea. Still busy, but in a different way, not that frantic, pressured way. It shows that meaning might mean choosing the less efficient path sometimes, doing things for their own sake, not just for speed or convenience.
So it's not about idealizing farm life. It's about realizing that a good life might mean giving things up, choosing the harder path sometimes, not always chasing that illusion of saving time.
Right, we can't have it all. Even if all these convenient things promise we can, a finite life means making choices. And accepting loss, it's unavoidable.
And that brings us back to this finitude thing, doesn't it? Facing our limits. You mentioned Martin Heidegger, the philosopher. He had a lot to say about that, right?
Good. He made finitude, that idea of our limits, a core part of his work. Now, important note here. Heidegger was involved with the Nazis, a truly awful thing. But his insights on time, on existence, they're still worth considering. His writing is super dense, but basically he was trying to make us see the things we take for granted about being alive. Even if we disagree with him, he makes us think.
So what did Heidegger say about finitude? The part relevant to our conversation, I mean.
He had this idea of being towards death. Now, it's not as morbid as it sounds. He's saying to really live authentically, fully, we have to keep death in mind. Not obsess over it, but just be aware. That makes our choices more deliberate, more genuine, because time is limited. It's not depressing, it's actually motivating.
And the opposite of that, this falling he talks about, it's about avoiding death.
Yeah.
Pretending it's not there.
Right. We fall into distractions, busyness, conforming to what others expect. It's all about forgetting that we're finite. Even trying to get everything done can be a form of this. Like, we're trying to outrun our limits, but we can't. It's all about facing that truth. We have to choose how to spend our time because it will run out.
We're so scared of death that we forget to really live, almost. But facing mortality, even though it's hard, it can change how we experience things right now, can't it?
It can. It makes things more real, more meaningful. Not always happier in the easy sense, but deeper. Like, Marion Coutts wrote this incredibly moving book about her son being diagnosed with cancer. It's about how that experience, as awful as it was, made everything so much more vivid, more real. When you face death, life becomes precious in a whole new way.
It makes you realize every moment we get is borrowed time. And even just thinking about that, about how unlikely our existence is, how short it is, it changes how we see the present.
It does. Being finite, it can feel like a kind of theft, can't it? Like, we're having our time stolen from us. We make plans for forever, and then reality hits. There's a writer, David Kane, he talks about witnessing a shooting. It made him realize just how fragile life is. Just being alive is kind of a fluke, you know? It's a stark reminder we're not entitled to more time.
Makes you hold on a little tighter to what you have. So if we can't do everything, and time is running out, how do we actually live with that? What's the practical approach?
Well, it's not about doing everything. That's out the window. It's about choosing what not to do and being okay with those choices. Greg Crutch, he talks about becoming a better procrastinator.
Procrastinate better. That's the opposite of what all the experts say.
I know, right? But think about it. We're always procrastinating on most things just by default. The trick is to be smart about it. Choose what to neglect so you can focus on what really matters. Procrastinate on the right things. It sounds weird, but it's about being deliberate with our limited time, our limited energy.
So it's decision-making, really. And once you decide, there's relief, isn't there? Like, you're not mentally juggling everything anymore. You're going in one direction, full steam ahead.
That's it. But then there's distraction. That's the other big time waster. All this stuff fighting for our attention all the time.
You mentioned that BuzzFeed watermelon video. 3 million views. It's ridiculous, but it shows how easily we get hooked.
And the comments were fascinating. People saying they wanted to stop watching. They knew they should, but they just couldn't. It's like, we're not always in control, right? Our attention gets hijacked. Seneca, way back when, he complained about the Romans wasting time on stuff they didn't even enjoy. It's the same thing now. We're constantly being pulled in different directions like we're not even choosing anymore.
And that attention, it's crucial, isn't it? Mary Oliver, the poet, she said, attention is the beginning of devotion. If we're scattered all the time, how can we truly experience anything? How can we connect with what matters?
That's the heart of it. And now we live in this attention economy. These platforms, they make money off our attention. They grab it, sell it to advertisers. Our phones are tracking us, figuring out what keeps us hooked. And often it's the stuff that makes us mad or scared. That's what keeps us scrolling. Like, our attention is literally a product being sold.
It's all those sneaky design tricks, right? The endless scroll, the refresh button, like slot machines designed to make us keep playing. We're the fuel, basically, for this whole Silicon Valley machine. And they don't care, as long as we keep clicking.
And all that negativity online, it seeps into our thinking, doesn't it? Makes us anxious, makes us see the world as worse than it is. And the worst part is, it's hard to even notice it happening, because the very thing that's being damaged, our attention, is also the thing we need to recognize the problem. It's sneaky, like a virus.
And politically, it's a mess. Algorithms sorting us into groups, making us fight. Tristan Harris makes a good point. There are people, thousands of them, whose job it is to keep us on these platforms. It's not just about willpower anymore. It's a system designed to hook us.
And let's be honest, we're often willing participants, right? Part of us wants to be distracted. Maybe it's easier than facing the things we care about, the things that are hard. Like, sometimes the problem isn't out there, it's inside us.
So, why do we want to be distracted? What's the underlying thing we're running from?
Often it's discomfort, any kind. Physical, emotional, even intellectual. Think about Steve Young, also known as Shinzan Young. He did this intense ritual in Japan, sitting in ice-cold water. He found that if he focused on the cold, it was bearable. But if his mind wandered, the suffering got worse. It's like focusing on the discomfort actually made it easier.
And he said that same focus made boring tasks enjoyable. It wasn't the task that changed, but his experience of it. The problem wasn't the thing itself, but his resistance to it.
Right. So distraction isn't the root cause. It's where we go to escape something. Like having trouble focusing on a conversation. Maybe it's not about the phone, but about the effort of listening. The phone's just the easy way out. It's about accepting discomfort, being present, like Young in that ice water. That's where we find peace, not in escaping.
Makes sense. So accepting discomfort, being present. Okay, another control thing we do, planning. We love our plans, don't we?
We do. And that urge for the perfect plan, it often comes from fear. Fear of bad things happening. Sometimes it's rooted in past trauma, like you mentioned with your grandmother fleeing the Nazis. But as David Payne says, we don't really have time, only expectations. Like, we can't control the future, only how we think about it.
And let's face it, plans get messed up all the time. Life throws curveballs. We act like we've got time all figured out, but we don't. The only sure thing about the future is that it becomes the past.
Heidegger, he'd say that's because we are time, not just in it. And when we think we can control it, own it. That's what stresses us out. So planning's good, but obsessing over it, that's different. Like Joseph Goldstein says, a plan is just a thought. It's what we intend now, not a guarantee about later.
Our plans are like trying to lasso the future. Good luck with that. But this future-focused thinking, it shows up in weird places, right? Even with our kids. Oh yeah, becoming a parent, that brought this whole time thing into sharp focus for me. Suddenly it was all about using time well. Even with a newborn, I was buying all those baby books, trying to do everything right.
And all those parenting philosophies, whether it's baby trainer or natural parenting, they often act like their methods guarantee a certain kind of kid, a certain kind of future. Like, if you just follow the steps, your kid will turn out perfect. But there's not much evidence for that, is there? It's all about achieving some future outcome, this idea that if we just do things right, life will run smoothly. And that's the instrumental approach to life, isn't it? Always looking ahead, never really being present.
And it hit me how messed up it was to see my newborn baby as a project. Like, he was there to fix my anxieties about the future. It wasn't about him at all. It was about getting him to turn out a certain way.
Adam Gopnik calls that the causal catastrophe. We judge childhood based on the adults it produces, and we miss the beauty of childhood itself. Like those moments when your baby falls asleep on you or your kid gets lost in a video game. Those have value in themselves, not just for what they might lead to later. It's like the present is only good if it leads to a good future, which is kind of sad.
It's like that line from Tom Stoppard's play where a character says, "A child's purpose is to be a child. Life's bounty is in its flow. Later is too late." It's about appreciating what's right in front of us. But then, isn't there this danger of trying too hard to be present?
There is. It's a paradox. If we try to force presence, it creates distance. Like Robert Pirsig, he wrote about being at Crater Lake. He felt like the beauty was ruined because everyone was pointing it out, trying to appreciate it. Like trying too hard took away from the experience.
That happened to me with the Northern Lights. Up until I took trying to really soak it in. But the more I tried, the less I felt it. They just look like a screensaver, honestly.
Because that effort to be present, it becomes another way of using time to get something we want, like an enriching experience. It's like trying too hard to fall asleep. The more you focus on it, the more elusive it gets. Remember that study where couples were told to have sex twice as often? Didn't make them happier. Sometimes forcing an experience just ruins it.
So even leisure time, that pressure to use time well, can ruin it. It's not leisure anymore, it's another to-do.
Exactly. When time becomes just a resource, we feel like we have to be productive with it all the time. Even relaxing starts to feel wrong, like it's not enough. It's either relaxation makes you a better worker, or it's side hustles, hobbies turned into businesses. We're always justifying leisure by its usefulness.
It's everywhere, isn't it? Like, I even caught myself approaching meditation retreats as a way to get permanent calm. Like, it wasn't about the experience itself, but what I could get from it.
That's it. And when that happens, leisure becomes a chore, doesn't it? Like Walter Kerr said, the pursuit of happiness becomes the pursuit of the right to pursue happiness. It's backwards. We should be enjoying things for what they are. And it's ironic, right? We have more free time than ever, theoretically, but it doesn't feel like it. And the more options we have, the more we feel like we should be doing certain things. Like even having free time becomes stressful.
Totally. And it's so different from how people used to see work, right?
Yeah.
It used to be that leisure was the good life, not work.
Right. The ancients, they called work negotium. Literally, not leisure. It was a necessary evil, something you did to get back to the good stuff. Leisure was central. Even for medieval peasants, they had tons of holidays, festivals. Some historians say they only worked like 150 days a year. And there was even pressure to participate in leisure, to be part of the community. It was the opposite of now, where work's the center of everything.
Then came the Industrial Revolution, and everything changed. The clock took over. Work and leisure became separate, almost opposites. And leisure became about recovering from work so you could be more productive.
Right. And industrial work, it often wasn't very meaningful in itself. So both work and leisure became about future outcomes, not about the experience itself. But now there's a new twist. We often don't want to rest, even when we can.
You're talking about pathological productivity, right?
Yeah.
Like that inability to just stop. Danielle Steele's writing schedule, that's a crazy example.
It is, writing for hours, barely sleeping. It's like she can't not be productive. Maybe it's a way to avoid dealing with things, who knows? But psychologists call this idleness aversion, like we're actually afraid of doing nothing.
Which ties into the Protestant work ethic, doesn't it? That idea that hard work proves you're one of the chosen ones.
Exactly. That's woven into our culture, right? Work hard, be frugal, accumulate stuff. Idleness is bad, productivity is good. It's deep in our thinking.
So the opposite of that would be doing things just for the joy of it. Like you hiking in the Yorkshire Dales, enjoying the bleakness, the solitude. No goal, just being there.
That's a great example. It's what Kiran Setia calls atelic activities, things done for their own sake, not for some end result, the opposite of telek activities, which are all about achieving something.
So hiking just to hike, not to reach a summit or hit a mileage goal, just the experience itself.
Right. Setia had this realization midlife that his life was all projects, achievements, and it felt empty. So he started focusing on these atelic things, and it made a difference. Like, we need those things in our life. All about goals.
And those are often hobbies, aren't they? But hobby almost sounds pathetic in our achievement-obsessed world.
It does. But in a world where everything has to be useful, the hobbyist is kind of a rebel, doing things for the pure love of it, no profit, no Instagram likes. Maybe we make fun of hobbies because they remind us of something we're missing, like the contentment of doing something just for the joy of it.
And a good hobby, shouldn't it feel a little embarrassing? Like something you're into that you don't care if anyone else gets?
Right. And your example of Rod Stewart with his model railway, that's perfect. This rock star spending hours building tiny trains, that's atelic, pure and simple. Not like Richard Branson kite surfing with cameras following him. It's like being mediocre at your hobby is a good thing. It means you're not doing it for anyone but yourself. You mentioned playing Elton John on the piano. That's the spirit. Different from writing, right? That's work. That's pressure.
Totally different vibe. Okay, another side effect of this time pressure. Impatience. We hate waiting, don't we?
And reading's a prime example. People are finding it harder and harder to concentrate on books. They want that instant gratification they get online. Hugh McGuire, he wrote about this. He said he can barely read a sentence anymore, let alone a whole chapter. It's like our attention spans are shrinking, all thanks to the internet.
rewired for speed, like you said.
Yeah.
But some things just take time, right?
Yeah.
Reading a good book, it can't be rushed. Understanding takes time.
Exactly. And that brings us to Stephanie Brown. She observed this addiction to speed in Silicon Valley, people working nonstop, like it was a drug.
She said they felt this anxiety building up if they slowed down. Like it was physically uncomfortable to stop.
Brown connected it to her own experience with alcoholism. Same mechanism, she said, avoidance, like they were running from something. And it becomes a cycle, right? You get anxious about not keeping up, so you go faster, but that just creates more anxiety because you can't make the world speed up with you. There's a thrill to it, but no peace. And the thing is, we celebrate this driven behavior, but if it was drinking, we'd call it a problem.
Double standard for sure. So how do we escape this speed trap? How do we learn to slow down?
By cultivating patience. Sounds simple, but it's hard. Jennifer Roberts, she teaches art. She gives her students this assignment. Look at one painting for 3 hours straight. Just look. No phones, no multitasking. It's about resisting that urge to rush, to do something quick.
I can imagine how squirmy I'd feel. Like there must be something more productive I could be doing.
Right. But she found that having those limits, like the length of a concert or the size of a huge artwork, it forces us to slow down, to really appreciate things that take time. Like resisting the urge to rush actually lets us connect with reality. We get stuck in, as you said.
It reminds me of M. Scott Peck. He had this broken lawnmower, and instead of rushing to fix it, he just watched it, observed it, and eventually the solution came to him.
That's a great story. His point was, when we endure that discomfort of not knowing the answer, the solution often appears. And that applies to so much. Creativity, relationships, even politics, parenting. We hate that uncertainty, that not knowing. So we rush to any solution, even if it's the wrong one.